Welcome to You Are the Answer, the podcast that helps you reconnect with the most powerful healer you know, your own body. I'm Naomi Mills, chiropractor, healthcare professional, and believer in the natural intelligence within us all. In this podcast, I explore what it means to trust your body, decode its signals, and take ownership of your well-being without quick fixes or health fads. Whether you're just beginning your journey or deep in transformation, I'm here to guide you back to the truth. You are not broken. You are the answer. Hello and welcome to episode 13, and we are in the second arc of the podcast, which I am calling the embodiment series, and that's when we investigate what we do in our body and how it's going to be using the body specifically to regulate your nervous system, to bring us out of this fight-flight overwhelm. And one of my favourite things I do is share through storytelling. And there's a story I was told once before I did this particular exercise, and it's a favourite exercise of mine. And I'm going to give you an abbreviated version of the story now, which is, you imagine a man arriving on holiday somewhere really remote and beautiful on the far side of the world. In my mind, it's always like the Galapagos Islands or something. And he gets off the boat and he arrives in this beautiful little village. And everything looks very friendly, very gorgeous, lush scenery and greenery. Except everywhere he goes, people tell him, well, watch out for the snakes. And he thinks, I can't see any snakes. But no matter what he does, if he goes on a walk or he goes into the shops, somebody will say to him, have you seen any snakes? Beware of the snakes. And so this man goes about his day. He's in a very lovely hotel. He gets a few days into his trip. And more he's starting to feel anxious that he might see one of these snakes because people have told him. The locals have said that if you get bitten by a snake, they're absolutely deadly and there's nothing you can do about it. So he goes to get ready for bed one night. And just as he's putting things out on his bed and disrobing and taking off his clothes, he feels something fall against his leg like an attack, and he drops down dead. The next morning, the maid goes into his room to help tidy it up, and she finds the man lying there dead on the floor with his rolled up belt lying next to him. And of course, the idea around this story is that this man got so terrified and so afraid of a snake that he'd never seen, he'd never encountered before or knew about before he went there, that just the mere fact that he dropped his belt against his leg when he wasn't expecting it made him believe it was a snake, and he dropped down dead. And what this is a great metaphor for is, at the moment, I feel like we can be a bit like those villagers in the snake when we talk about how bad the world is and how everything's falling apart and it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. And what we're doing is we're creating this internal state in ourselves and those people around us of looking for things to be fearful of, for survival, really pushing our nervous systems into this distress state. And actually, this story was shared with me right before one of my favourite embodies exercises. And it's a really clever exercise because it's, again, involves something that we've all been culturally conditioned to fear. And that is broken glass. And so when this story was first told to me, I was staring at a 6 foot long by 2 or 3 foot wide bed of broken glass. Just regular glass from wine bottles, spirit bottles. It was real. There are some safety mechanisms that go into it when we do prepare it for people to walk. So again, don't try this at home, because while it's real glass, it is prepared in a certain way that if you step on some of it, it could cut you, but we get rid of all the things that are going to loop in and like hook into your foot and things. So all that's to say, no glass walking at home. But when we look at this bed of glass, that's when the brain starts going, oh my goodness, I'm going to cut myself. This is fearful. This is going to be so painful, uncomfortable, dangerous. When in reality, it is one of the most meditative and almost enjoyable sensations. Lots and lots of people have fed back to me that it's like walking over a sheepskin rug. And I think the glass walk is a wonderful analogy for life, because what you do in a glass walk is you very gently feel your way across. I love it because it gets you straight into your body. You can't think your way across a glass walk. You have to feel your way very slowly and very deliberately. And as you feel your way around of where you're going to place your foot, and then you make that commitment and you hear that crunch of real glass breaking underneath you and the kind of gasp sometimes of onlookers, it's extremely powerful to actually get you out of your head into your body. Every element of your mind is micro-focused on what you can feel in your feet and checking that you're okay. And it's teaching you in that moment how to trust your body. That the mind has all of these fears and all of these stories around glass, but they're not actually always true. And in culture, we drop glasses in a restaurant or in a school canteen and everyone yells and roars and it's a really big deal. We also know, like, you might be on the phone to someone, you drop a glass, you're like, oh, I've dropped a glass. And they're like, yeah, you've got to go. So often in our culture, we are taught to fear things that actually are not necessarily that scary. And so for me, the glass walk is such a rich exercise in coming out of the mind into the body, feeling your way across, a very powerful metaphor for life of just finding that next right, safe step. And in a previous episode, we talked a lot about the future self, imagining very vividly who you're going to be in the future so that you rewire your brain to equate you 10, 20 years from now with you now on a neurological level. And the glass walk's really important in bringing you into this present moment in your body to make the changes today that you want your future self to benefit from. And one of the greatest lessons you can learn now that is going to unequivocally change your mental, emotional, and physical state in the future is learning to trust your body over your mind sometimes. That the mind is there to keep you safe. It's a comparison machine. It's there to check in. It's a very fancy computer. But it was never designed to run the show. And just like the guy with the snakes, when we feed these fears, feed these stories, and we allow others to do it, we can make it so big that our bodies physiologically feel like we're going to die any moment. And no amount of logic, even though you know you're not, it's not getting us out of it because we are physiologically stuck in survival. So today's invitation, other than to introduce you to the beauty of a glass walk, and if you ever find yourself near Edinburgh and you want to come and experience one with me, take a look on the You Are The Answer website, www.youaretheanswer.co.uk. Head over to events and you will see when we've got one coming up. But if you don't have access to that right now, the invitation is really to ask yourself, where in your life are you being like the man with the snakes? Where in your life are you living so far into your head, perhaps to do with the culture or stories you've taught yourself or learned growing up, things that you've managed to kind of pick up in your life, but where are you being like the man with the snake? And what would it be like to ground yourself back into your body in a really conscious way around that area, to notice that you are not in any way needing to be as hyper-focused or fearful or tense around that subject. And then I would invite you to find a really simple way to bring yourself out of it. I have a 31-day reset your nervous system journal that's available on the online shop. That gives you something every day for 31 days that will help bring you back into your body and learning to trust its signals where the mind has been overriding it. It can also be something as simple as taking a slow, steady walk, ideally in nature, ideally with your bare feet on the earth, and just allowing yourself to be much more present, and then perhaps thinking about that scenario or the situation where you are constantly overthinking, and bringing yourself back into your body in that moment very deliberately. So I hope today has given you some food for thought. I would love to hear what you think. Please leave a comment, send me your questions, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you for joining me on You Are the Answer. If today's episode sparked something in you, share it with someone you care about and leave a review to help others find their way back to their body too. For more tools, inspiration and resources to support your journey, head to www.youaretheanswer.co.uk. And until next time, stay connected, stay curious, and remember, you are the answer, and you always have been.